Happy New Year, my name is Tony. There is a certain rare breed of screen actor who have a capacity to command attention. Some of these include Richard Burton, Clint Eastwood, Anthony Hopkins, and sometimes on good days, Michael Caine, Sean Connery and John Wayne. Whatever part they're playing, whatever film they're in, no matter how great, good, middling, bad or indifferent, the audience very often cannot take their eyes off them. Whatever quality or ability they possess, call it charisma, presence or gravitas, it is rare and seen less and less these days. I don't think it can be taught, I don't think it can be learned, I don't think it can be faked or manufactured. It's an indefinable something that just is. Either you've got it or you don't. Olly Reed had it, the ability to claim and hold the attention of the audience by his very appearance on screen. Irrespective of the role, the quality of the production, it is something he described as making the air move around me. That's as good a definition as any, and he could do it naturally, instinctively. He is one of my all-time favourite movie actors, and I will watch literally anything just because he's in it. I was greatly saddened by his untimely death, aged 60, at the very point when he was appearing in the film Gladiator, which seemed primed to mark his return to character acting in major mainstream movies. He died of a heart attack in a bar in Malta after a gargantuan drinking binge. Well, that was Olly. Never predictable, always likely to pull the rug out from under your expectations, and probably even his own. I didn't know him on a personal level, only through his performances and interviews, an unreliable but infectiously hilarious autobiography, Read All About Me. But I miss him. Dearly. I never saw this film before, it wasn't one of my market hall experiences. It was brought up in a comment by Chris Barrard about the Shatter video, so when the opportunity arose to give it the once over, I fired up some Cronenberg and Jack Daniels, kicked back and let it reveal itself before my eager eyes. The title of the version I saw was Assault on Paradise, but it has also been known as Assault in Paradise, Maniac, Maniac a Killer, Ransom, The Ransom, and The Town That Cried Terror. Sometimes retitling a film gives it another shot at making some money. Sometimes this is faulty thinking and doesn't work. I'd never heard of this film under any of the titles it went by. You know, I have a funny feeling it was something of a universal flop. Which is a bit of a shame, but wholly understandable, because for reasons which have nothing to do with it being any good, which it isn't, I did quite enjoy it. I'll run it down. First, this is what it's about. In a wealthy Arizona town populated by millionaire landowners, a deranged twat calling himself Victor is running around dressed as the Native American Indian character from The Village People and killing cops and rich folks with a high-powered crossbow. He's played by the very white-looking 1970s rent-a-creep Paul Koslow. Victor has read the Dirty Harry companion handbook titled Psychopathic Killers and Extortion, a do-it-yourself primer. He demands $1 million ransom payment to stop his killing spree. He leaves the local fuzz messages pre-recorded on cassette tape, which are made up of mindless ravings and repeat questioning as to
who will stop the wind?
Stop the wind? The answer may well be don't eat the beans, clench your sphincter muscles and get some Semeticone down you. The rich guys are a shady cartel of land fraudsters fronted by Principal Sleazo Whitaker, Stuart Whitman. He decides not to fuck around or involve the authorities lest it shed light on their dodgy activities and calls in the services of a private security investigator, Nick McCormick, played by Olly Reed. The brief is simple. Find Victor and stop the wind. I mean, kill his ass. Nick has two ways of doing things, he informs. There's his way, and then alternatively, there's his way. He enlists the assistance of a local tracker, Jim Mitchum, whose name is Tracker. I know, it's the old giving characters the same name as the thing they do or what they are trope. So, if for instance they were the village idiot, then their name would be Village Idiot. For someone called Mr. Secret Pedophile, that approach would be something of an incriminating giveaway. Reed tangles with local investigative TV journalist Deborah Raffin, whose name isn't local investigative TV journalist. No, it's Cindy Simmons. She's the token love interest. Could have called her that, I suppose. Deborah Raffin as token love interest. But they didn't. Or random fuck. Miss Random Fuck. They didn't do that either. Anyway, that's the meat and potatoes of the thing. Critique-wise, I have to say it's not great. And I'll tell you right now, my reason for watching because Olly Reed is in it is wholly justified, because he turns out to be the best thing about it. For him, it's just a stroll towards a paycheck, a journey from A to B, there to here. He does what comes naturally to him, makes the air move, holds the attention when he's on screen, puts in as much effort as the role requires, but he's not exactly busting a gut. However, at least he's not exactly busting a gut with his killer inherent masculine style and flair, which makes the experience something approaching worthwhile. For me, anyway. Not much in this movie makes a great deal of sense. The suggestion that the rich land grubbers stole from the indigenous people doesn't hold as a reason for Victor dressing up like a cigar store Indian or as a motivation for revenge. He looks definitively white to me, so if the Indian thing is some sort of distraction or smokescreen, I couldn't honestly say, because nothing is really explained. There's a scene when he turns up at the local cop shop under the subterfuge of handing in a wallet he pretends he found in the street. The desk sergeant recognises him as one Philip McCall, and if that's a traditional Native American name, I for one would be surprised. Even more surprised if the tribal name for Philip McCall happened to be Blowing Wind. He's some sort of ex-athlete who excelled in some sort of 100-meter freestyle event the cop once saw in Denver. He was supposed to go to the Olympics, but it didn't work out. What it actually was is never disclosed. It's a pointless scene that succeeds in telling the audience something about nothing that matters in any way whatsoever. In the scheme of things, it doesn't mean anything. So why is it there? Same could be asked regarding the pre-credits sequence in which a couple are making out at night in a convertible with a top down. A man wearing a clown mask pops up and shoots them repeatedly with a pistol until they're dead. This has no specific relevance to the rest of the film, unless the guy turns out to be the boyfriend of a girl who spontaneously appears later to report him missing to the police. Are we then to assume Victor was the shooter? Was there a clown in the village, people? Don't say they all were, please. None of that facetiousness here if you don't mind. And besides, I don't think the village people became a thing until 1978 or 9, and this movie was made in 1976 or 7. There's a competent motorcycle chase through the desert with Reed and Mitchum pursuing Coslow to a huge dam where he jumps from an unfeasible height into the water. We have a decent and tense home invasion sequence when Victor breaches Whittaker's mansion, killing all his security guards, and the two engage in a cat and mouse battle, partially captured on old school black and white security cameras. It works quite well, is filmed with reasonable fluid efficiency. The obligatory car chase is like something out of the Dukes of Hazzard or Smokey and the Bandit, and it takes place after Victor kills the mayor during a parade. This murder reminded me faintly of the Kennedy assassination. Open-top car slowly cruising heavily populated streets, dignitary and his wife on board, killer in an elevated position. Just struck me that way, apart from the crossbow bolt through the gizzard, of course. Wouldn't get one of them sparking the target from the 6th floor of the Texas School Book Depository. Victor skips town on his motorcycle pursued by one of the landowners in another open-top vehicle. He's accompanied by his wife and Miss Random Fuck. Why is Deborah Raffin sat in the back of the car? Just is. And the police. They're along for the ride as well. Some of this is played for laughs, with cop cars getting wiped out by Victor's casually thrown hand grenades, of which he seems to have an inexhaustible supply. There's a lot of unconvincing collisions, banging, shouting and crashing. Not the greatest of car chases I've ever seen by any stretch, and the jokey tone it goes for isn't a good fit with the overarching subject matter. I suppose you could see Assault on Paradise as another step down in Olly Reed's career, a milestone in the decline of his leading man status. He would reclaim some of that briefly in 1986 when he appeared as the lead in Nicholas Roeg's Castaway, a relatively successful true-life adventure drama. But until then, he wasn't destined to revive his superstardom of the late 60s and early 70s, something that probably didn't trouble him much, I imagine. He's still a force to be reckoned with though in this, well, B-movie, and he does lend it a welcome touch of class. Whitman and Mitchum provide solid support. Deborah Raffin was certainly pretty and decorative in a very thin and underwritten role, and Paul Coslow is okay as the loopy villain, a lightweight version of Andrew Robinson's Scorpio from Dirty Harry. What dilutes his part is the ambiguity of his motivation. Is it the money he wants, the exposure of the land theft, revenge or justice for his ancestors, whatever white Native American tribe they belong to, or just for the satisfactory kick of killing people who have more money and privilege than he does. And what sporting event was he so good at he nearly went to the Olympics? Don't worry about it too much though, cause you'll never know. Incidentally, Coslow would turn up in Olly's next film, Tomorrow Never Comes, as would John Ireland, who plays the police chief in Assault on Paradise. Direction is by Richard Compton, who made the well-respected early 70s exploitation flick Macon County Line. That film was a tight and tense little number. This time round his touch is unfortunately more lackluster and uninspired. The screenplay by John C. Broderick and Ronald Silkowski is a fragmented construct that doesn't seem to possess much coherence or meaningful narrative structure. Neither man has any notable track record in the scripting stakes. Score is by Don Ellis, who had 2 classic works to his name, The French Connection and The 7-Ups. This is nowhere near the same caliber. It features a terrible song called Victor's Theme, Shoot Him. It plays at the end, so it's easy to ignore, as such things thankfully are. It was co-written by Roger McGuinn. Yep, the Roger McGuinn, founder member and guitar jangling maestro of the Byrds. How the fuck did that happen? Mention should go to the cinematography by Charles Correll, who went on to lend Star Trek III The Search for Spock. Some of his aerial and location work borders on the almost impressive. So there you have it. Unless you fall into a certain category, you might well be wasting 90 minutes of your time and life. If you are an Oliver Reed fan or completist, if you have an enduring interest in B-grade 70s action movies, if you have a particular tolerance for films that don't reward deep thinking, shallow thinking, or in this case thinking on any level, then you may find it, as I did, passable entertainment when things are a bit slow and you're at a loose end. Otherwise, in more general terms, I wouldn't class it as essential viewing, and I would be doing you a grave disservice if I told you different. And we don't want that now, do we? Thanks a million for your time and attention. It is appreciated as always. I'll leave the rest up to you. Speak soon. Yep, first threat of the new year. I'll make good on it too. Trust me.
Who will stop the wind?
Well, how about a cork, Chief White Ass? Meanwhile, here's a song called Pigs in Flames. Except the pain in my heart has got nothing to do with love. It's a cardiac event that begs my participation. When the world is falling apart, you can pray to the heavens above and see if you get sent a paradise invitation. Are flying again over fields and power stations. Soon they'll be bursting into flames, crashing and burning, fragmentation, peppering the zombie nation. I should be feeling in the pink, but I find myself grazing the black in a Legoland revolt by the Toy Town congregation. There's no time to reason or think, like another dog in the pack, kissing those nuts and bolts and the balls of legislation. Are flying again over fields and power stations. Soon they'll be bursting into flames, crashing and burning, fragmentation, peppering the zombie nation. missiles and power stations. Soon they'll be bursting into flames, crashing and burning, fragmentation, peppering the zombie nation. Peppering the zombie nation. Peppering the zombie nation. Peppering the zombie nation. Peppering the zombie. 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 Peppering